Welcome to Talking Soccer. I'm your host, Justin Horniker, in a bit of a solemn mood today as the aftermath of the NWSL final, it's really sitting in. I wanted to take a night, sleep on it, not be, too emotional, but ultimately, the NWSL final was a well-won game by the Portland Thorns. My Kansas City Current were simply outplayed and outcoached from the moment that Sophia Smith dribbled through the defense. Elizabeth Ball in the 4th minute tries to make a play on an over-the-top ball, slips up a bit. Sophia Smith steps into space and just takes over. She dribbles right at Adie Franch. Adie Franch tries to come out off her line to make Sophia Smith dribble around her. Sophia Smith dribbles around her and is able to easily kind of slot it in. It looks like a easy effort goal, but the effort and dribbling skill required to make it happen maybe doesn't lend to enough credit for what Sophia Smith deserves for that goal. She hits him with the celebration afterwards, and what can you really do? And honestly, from that 4th minute, KC make some adjustments. They up the intensity of their press, and you can really tell that 4th minute goal forces KC to play in a way that they just frankly haven't been used to playing this year. Chasing a goal from the very beginning in a game where you're missing a lot of your structure. Claire Lavage being out is such a big impact to this team. When you think about earlier in the year when it was Victoria Pickett that was stepping into that role, Claire Lavage is signed. Claire Lavage steps into that midfield role. Victoria Pickett is traded. Then Claire Lavage gets injured in the playoffs, and now you're down a defender. You're down a midfielder. Alex Loera has to step up into that space, and Alex Loera did a fantastic job last week, but I think what you miss from Claire Lavage in the lineup is just her calm and composure on the ball and the way that she can kind of make something happen out of nothing, which is what KC was desperately missing in this game. So they go down 1-0 early. They up the intensity, but they definitely start to rush their passes. A lot of short passes just weren't finding their mark. And you can tell when the end product is missing. Kansas City will end this game with 9 shots, 0 of them on target. And frankly, you can't win a game without a shot on target. They give up an own goal in the 50th minute. And, that own goal comes off of Morgan Weaver sending the ball in. A little bit of miscommunication between Addison Merrick and Adie Franch. This is the 64th minute. Casey's been chasing. You can tell that they are just exhausted by this point. A little bit of a deflection off AD, deflection off Addison Merrick, pinballs a bit, and then finds its way in the back of the net. 2-0 Portland, and at that point, it's pretty much game over. Elise Bennett comes in at the 64th minute, so right after that goal. Elise Bennett has been such a game changer for this team over the course of the year with her subs, but ultimately, you have to give it to Portland. Every move that they made in this game was the right move. And then you have Crystal Dunn coming off the bench at the end, Abby Smith, Hino Sugita, and that just clinched it. And I think, you really have to give it to Rhiannon Wilkinson for just the way that she gets this game right. I talked about it in last week's video on how Matt Potter just made all the right decisions against Seattle. And I don't think that he could have done much different in this setup, but it's clear that Rhiannon Wilkinson, playing Christine Sinclair, starting Christine Sinclair in this game after coming off the bench last week was the right call. Christine Sinclair at 73 brilliant minutes. Sophia Smith, brilliant on the ball. Player of the game, player of the playoffs, MVP. You had Becky Sauerbrunn and Kelly Hubley at center back. Both of them had fantastic games as well. And ultimately, the real MVP, you give it to Sophia Smith, but the real MVPs were probably Kelly Hubley and Becky Sauerbrunn for just the way that they were able to calmly dispose of any attack that KC was throwing at them. There were periods late in the game where Kansas City was very, very frustrated. They were rushing. They were throwing all this intensity at the back line. And Becky Sauerbrunn, just calmly sealed out KC attackers from the ball, and the ball would roll out for a goal kick. And that's that calm and composure on the ball at center back that you have to see in a game like this. And ultimately, it's two different formations going at each other. It was a good, intense game for everything that you throw at it. Portland Thorns deserved this win. They deserved it by the way that they played. They deserved it by the way that they coached. And ultimately, they're the better team. Give them that. Kansas City have nothing to feel sorry for. They finished last place last year. They're playing this game without Sam Ewis and Lynn Williams, who they acquired in the offseason, who weren't able to play a regular season game. Like I said, they play it without Claire Lavoie, who midseason pickup, French international, someone who had a lot of impact to this team. You're playing against Becky Sauerbrunn, who's now a 3-time NWSL champion, 3-time gold medalist, CONCACAF Team of the Decade, 4-time Defender of the Year, Missouri Gatorade Player of the Year. Let's throw that out there. You're playing against Kelly Hubley, who is fantastic in this game. Sophia Smith, MVP. The Bella Bixby-AD France duel was fascinating to watch as well. Bella Bixby gave AD France her flowers after the game. It's tough, but the Current should feel proud. A year after finishing last, they made the final. A year where no one expected them to be here. A year where all the cards were up against them. They broke ground on a brand new stadium. They opened up a brand new practice facility. Everything is looking up for Kansas City. Even if they don't make the playoffs next year, which frankly would be, with this group, with how they've gone, would be bad for this team. Their goal next year is definitely to make it back to the final. They talked about it after the game that, they have to believe in themselves. They made it this far. They're going to run back next year with maybe some changes. We'll talk about that at some point. I have a couple off-season videos that are ready to roll, but Kansas City have some free agency decisions to make with the captain, Des Scott, with Kristen Edmonds as well. There are some very good free agents out there that could make a difference for both these teams. Dabina is a free agent now, which is wild. I doubt she'll be a KC Current player. I doubt she'll be a Portland Thorns player, but the fact that she's going to be out there signing for any team is incredible. So that's how the championship game went down. All praise, all glory, all congratulations to the Portland Thorns, but the Current have nothing to be sorry for. Ultimately, the result doesn't go your way, but everything that you did leading up to this point is something to celebrate, something to bounce off next year. You talk about all of the plaudits that you could throw at this team. Elise Bennett finding her way as a rookie. Shardy Coran finding her way as a rookie. Lola Bonta forcing herself into the MVP conversation at points this year from a player who wasn't really lauded at all coming into this season. Kristen Hamilton as well, another player who gave a lot to this team. The rise of Haley Mace. Haley Mace, I was looking through the numbers when I was thinking about the MVP conversation and looking between Sophia Smith and Mal Pugh. And Haley Mace, when you look at the shot creation numbers, was in the top 10 of the league in terms of shots created, goals created. And she took a step forward this year that wasn't there last year. She got into the U.S. national team. That was something that you weren't necessarily expecting coming into this year. And next year, you have 2 international superstars that should, for all intents and purposes, be healthy. Lynn Williams practiced with the team on Friday, was in all the festivities yesterday. Sam Ewis has been with the team, so the team building has been there, even though you haven't seen them on the field. Kansas City Current have a lot to look forward to. They should be a top 3, top 4 team next year. Portland should easily be defending the title next year. Another year with Sophia Smith building her case to be the best player in the world. I thought that was something cool. Rian Wilkinson had talked about just her relationship with Sophia Smith and how she doesn't slack off on Sophia. They have a nice understanding that they both want the same thing. They both want to improve and they both want to ask more out of themselves. And I think that when you have that coach-player relationship, that high-level coach, that high-level player, that Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan relationship, that's something you treasure. That's something this league has to be proud of. So anyway, thank you all so much for coming along this journey with me this year. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe if you want more soccer content, both women's game and men's game. And as always, my friends, we will talk soon.